What's up, everybody? I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
Thanks so much for tuning back in today. We're doing our schedule predictions for the AFC, NFC East, and NFC West.
Yes, sir.
Before we dive into that, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and if you guys have thoughts on what we say, right, wrong, otherwise, leave a comment, let us know what you think.
I'm always right.
Or something. And, with that being said, we're going to jump into this, and we're going to start off in the NFC East, and... Where do you want to start? Which one of these teams gets you interested the most? Or no, that's probably different. Who do you want to start with?
I want to start with the Giants because they interest me the least.
Okay.
Yeah.
They interest me, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Right, so the New York Giants. Week 1, they are at home against Dallas. Division games at home can go weird, but I'm going to say Dallas beats them.
Yeah, I don't see enough from this Giants team to really get me super excited. I think they had a good run last year, and I do think Dable's the right guy for this team.
Yep.
You're in a position where Saquon maybe isn't even playing because he's he's possibly holding out because of this whole running back situation.
No, he's not.
He's not holding out?
No, they signed him 2 days ago.
Did they actually?
They got him. Well, he can't sign a multi-year deal, but he signed 1 year, $11 million, with up to basically another $1 million in incentives.
Okay, so Saquon's
So
back.
he's back in camp.
Okay, perfect. Well then, I don't really think that changes anything too much, but it is good that you got one of your star offensive players who can help out Daniel Jones. So I will say that the Cowboys are just
Cowboys are just going to beat them.
They're just going to beat them. They're a more talented roster, and even though it's week 1 shenanigans can always happen.
Yep.
I'm going to give a
vote
of confidence to the Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. I just wouldn't pick the Giants.
Yeah.
Week 2, I do pick the Giants in going to Arizona.
Absolutely. Yeah, too easy.
But I will say this also. This is also that time when the first 3 weeks they could drop a game to an inferior team. Though I don't think they will. I think they will drop the next game when they go to San Francisco. I think they just get smacked.
Yeah, it's going to be real tough to pull that one off.
I don't think they got anything for that game.
Yeah, no. Though, if they put up 13 points, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, one of them's a kickoff return, probably.
Yeah, at the end of the game, they're down.
One of them's a kickoff return, and everything else was lucky.
Pretty much.
Week 4, Seattle. Seattle will beat them.
Yeah, I think Seattle pulls that one off, too.
Going to Miami. Miami's also going to beat them.
Yep.
At Buffalo. Buffalo beats them.
Yep.
And I'll say they'll beat Washington at home. But this is another one where I have a split. Until I see Sam Howell, I'm not going to really say what Washington can or can't be.
Sure.
So until then, I'll say they can beat Washington in a home game.
Yeah, I think I've got the same thing. I'll give Washington the home game.
Okay. Right after that, it's the battle for New York. Jets, Giants, Jets.
It's going Jets.
Yep.
Easy.
Going to Las Vegas. This is a closer game.
Okay.
But I am going to pick Vegas.
Oh, you're picking Vegas on this one?
Yeah, not confidently.
Okay.
But this is they're in Las Vegas. They've got Devontae Adams. They got Max Crosby. I think that the guys that they have that are impactful are more important than the Giants guys.
Sure.
I mean, who do the Giants have? They got Dexter Lawrence.
Is the Darren Waller revenge game not a factor for you?
He probably won't be playing. He's probably out by this point.
Oh, yeah, it is week 9 at that point.
Yeah, this is right around the time where Darren Waller is firmly out.
Yep, that's fair.
No, I mean, Dexter Lawrence will be good. Andrew Thomas is a really good left tackle, but Max Crosby rushes from the right side of the O-line. Devontae Adams, I don't know who's going to cover him.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, who knows? This is a game where I think they're both bad. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's in Las Vegas, and I think I like if I was to pick between the two rosters, I guess I like what the Raiders have more.
Yeah.
I don't feel great about that.
Based on our AFC West video, I can't remember if I gave the Raiders the win over the Giants or not. I'm gonna go with the Giants. If I'm contradicting,
go for it.
If I'm contradicting myself, then I'll whatever. But I think at this point in time, I'm gonna go with the Giants strictly just because you've got Saquon back. The Raiders are kind of a dumpster fire. Screw it. I like Dable. I'm gonna roll with Dable on this.
Fair enough. After that, they go to Dallas, where they will get swept.
I think they get swept.
Yeah. And this is actually Vegas, Dallas, and then at Washington is a 3-game road stretch. and they lose in Washington. They split.
Yeah, I agree on the split.
And then Week 12, New England. I think they lose to New England. What do the Giants do that the Patriots can't stop?
No, and that's completely fair, but at the same time, like, are they really that... Is it really that different? Like, could the Giants pull this one off?
Could, but I don't think they will.
I'm going to give it to Daboll again. Not anything that... Not.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about coaching edge in that game, that's Patriots.
Oh yeah, I'm going to give Belichick the better.
Fair enough. Here's my logic when it comes to this. I'd rather have Belichick than Daboll, even though I do think Dable's great. I'd rather have Mac Jones than Daniel Jones.
Sure.
I think that the Patriots, they don't have a lot of high-end weapons, but they have a lot of B pluses or like B guys.
Sure.
Where they're not weak, they're just not great.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense is going to be good. And I don't think the Giants are going to do a damn thing.
I think I actually picked the Patriots when we went to the AFC East, so I'm going to stick with the Patriots on that one. But I do think that this could be a closer game.
This could be a close game. I think the Giants can... This is a game that is in the Giants' weight class.
Yeah, I think this is one they could win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going into the bye in Week 13, I have them sitting at a very nice... Ooh, I've got them 2-10.
I have them at 3-9 then.
Yeah.
Because I have one extra win on them.
Week 14, I've got them beating Green Bay.
Yeah.
Don't feel great about it, but I think they could.
Yeah, I think Green Bay is really not going to be as good as everybody just assumes they're going to be. So I don't know what it is, but I don't know why everyone's got all this faith in Jordan Love, but I really do think we'll see a real down year from the Packers.
Yeah. Week 15, I don't quite know exactly why I've got this, but in New Orleans, I've got the Giants winning in New Orleans. That must have something to do with where this is in the Saints' schedule.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Yeah, I've got this coming off the back of like 2 tougher games for New Orleans. So I think that's probably why I did it. Just like an attrition loss.
I'm going to give the nod to the Saints on this one.
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah, I think the team is just...
This is one where if you wanted to pick one based on Dable, I'd pick Dable over Dennis Allen.
I do think Dable over Dennis Allen, but the roster that the Saints have is just a B-plus roster. Like, it's not anything crazy. It's not going to win anything. It's not going to... It may not even go to the playoffs.
Could win the NFC South, but that's not because...
It could. It's not because they're good.
That's more of an indictment on the NFC South.
Exactly, and we'll get there next time. But, yeah, genuinely, I'm going to give it the Saints, but if Dable just coaches his ass off and gets his team to be in a position to find the weaknesses in this team, because they are there, then I could see it happening.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a weight class one, but I would say Saints over the Patriots, in my opinion. Like
Saints over the Giants?
No, I mean, like, putting the Patriots and the Saints together, like, kind of like, okay, so they're all in the same weight class. I would put Saints in
here's one that's not in the same class. They're going to go to Philly and get their ass kicked.
Yeah, no. I'll just... Spoiler alert, they get
swept by Philly. Yeah. They beat the Rams.
I have the Rams.
In between a Philly sandwich. So they got Philly in week 16 and 18 with the Rams in between.
That's a Philly cheesesteak right there.
That's,
I'm going to go with the loss to the Rams as well.
I got them beating the Rams.
I think that's completely fair. If the Rams are relatively decently healthy at that point, I think the Stafford goodbye tour is going to want that win just because...
I just don't think that the Rams are that good.
I don't think they're that good either. I would also say that the same thing about the Giants, and at this point, it's Super Bowl winning Stafford and Cooper Kupp versus the Giants.
Fair enough.
I'll go with that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get swept by Philly. So I got the Giants finishing the season at a prestigious 5-12, which I think is safe to say this is one of like 50% of the playoffs essentially turns over every year.
Yep,
this would be one of the 50% that I say does not make it back.
There's a great joke. Do you watch Bleacher Report's Gridiron Heights?
Not religiously, but I've seen bits of it.
Okay, I watch it every season. It's one of my favorite things. And the funniest part is they were talking about, so like around Halloween they do the scariest thing is the playoff teams of who's going to be in the playoffs and who's not.
Yeah.
And there's a joke where I think Dak's coming in and Taylor Heineke's on his way out, and it's like, oh, we just treat the playoffs like a timeshare and we all just trade off. And I think that's at this point. I mean, now that the Eagles are, their past couple of off seasons of building up the team they want to build, they've done a fantastic job.
I don't like the Eagles, but Howie Roseman's the best GM in the NFL.
I I'd have to agree. I really don't think I don't think I can name somebody.
They
else.
don't make bad moves.
They really don't, and if they do, they fix it immediately. Like they don't hold on to it, and they're willing to move on from their mistakes. Like Jalen Reagor is a great example. Like they no longer on the roster anymore. They got their guy. They got their guy in AJ
Jefferson.
Oh my God, they're filthy. So now that the Eagles have, and we'll get to the Eagles in a sec, but now that the Eagles have kind of locked down, I think they're going to run that division for a while. The Cowboys are good.
I don't think they're going to run the division for a while.
Really?
No, they're not that much. That last year, it still does need to be said. Last year, the NFC East did not have a tough run of it.
No,
they stacked a lot of wins that were not necessarily.
I'm not saying conference.
No, I'm saying this division. I'm saying they're not really they're not much or really any better than Dallas.
Yeah.
It just depends on Dallas just has a propensity to. I don't even know if they actually do, but they're just in the spotlight more, so it seems like they have a propensity to mess up more.
Sure.
But they're not that far away from Dallas.
I don't think they're that far away from Dallas, or excuse me, I don't think Dallas is that far away from Philly. But just based on how this team is built, I think
it's fair.
I think Dallas could definitely be one of those wild. Especially the NFC is still relatively weaker.
There's three great teams in the NFC. One of them is going to be a wild card because Dallas or Philly has to win that division.
Yeah, and I think both of them have that opportunity. So
yep.
But I do.
So what do you got the Giants at overall?
I think I'm at the same as you, 5-12. They'll just have different wins. Actually, no.
No, you have more than me.
More wins?
Yeah, you gave them more than me.
All right, hold on. I already moved on to the Commanders. So.
You gave them. You gave them the Rams win. You gave the Rams a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, you might have been the same, but we just had different ones. You gave them something early on that I didn't. Either way, you're in the 4 to 5-ish range. I think
you're looking at a top 5.
Anywhere 4 to 6 is where you had them.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So you want to do Commanders next?
Yeah, let's get the two. I'm not gonna say bottom feeders because we got one out of the way, but I think Washington could be interesting this year. Not anything crazy, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if Sam Howell does have it. But we know who's gonna be at the top of this division, whether it's one or two.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's not get that confident, even though we should, because as soon as we say it, one of those two is just gonna do it.
Yeah, especially on my division.
Sounds good. We will move on to Washington.
Works for me.
All right, so the Washington Commanders. This is an interesting team that I think their situation is really interesting this year. I think that everybody in that building's on the hot seat.
Oh yeah.
Because whenever you get that type of turnover at the very, very tippy top,
no one's safe.
In every business, they are looking for a reason to get their guys in there.
Yep.
So this is a big year for Washington. Let's see how we think it goes. Week 1, Arizona. I think the Cardinals beat them. Because I think this is a weird week 1 shenanigans scenario.
Okay.
And I think this is the type of thing where the Cardinals come out hyped, like nobody says we can do it.
Everybody's counting this out.
Yeah, and then Sam Howell's really just getting his feet wet, and we'll see how it goes. And I also needed to find a win for Arizona.
That's fair.
So I picked week 1.
Fair enough. I'm actually not going to do the same, and I'm going to give it to Washington strictly because the Chase Young prove-it year.
I think he's not going to get extended there.
I don't think he's going to get extended, but I think he's going to play well enough that somebody's going to want to overpay the guy, strictly based on talent alone.
You guys. You're going to lose Trey Hendrickson and get Chase Young. Which, by the way, I don't think that's a downward move.
No, if we're able to get him for what we paid Trey Hendrickson, we won't. Yeah. But if we were able to, then I would be totally down with that. But we'll talk about bringing in pieces once we pay Burrow after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'll start talking about.
So you got them beating Arizona.
Yes.
All right, I got them going to Denver and losing also.
Yeah.
Buffalo lose.
Yep.
In Philly lose.
Yep.
So 0-4, not a great start for. The Commanders.
At best, 1 and 3.
You got 1 and 3. Chicago, I got them beating Chicago.
Yeah, beating Chicago for sure. I have them beating the Falcons.
I got them losing to Atlanta.
Okay, so I got them on a nice little win streak.
Yeah, you do. At the Giants, loss. Like I said, I got them splitting, right. So they lose the road game.
Same here.
Philly's a loss. They get swept.
Yep.
And I've got New England beating them.
I'm gonna go Patriots because younger quarterback, Bill Belichick kind of eats those things.
Tends to do well.
Yeah, so I'll let him. I almost gave the Giants the win over the Patriots before I realized that I had already said the Patriots would win that game. This time I am going to give it to the Patriots pretty comfortably.
All right. Going to Seattle, I have them winning, and think this must be something where something must be going on with Seattle. Yeah, Seattle's coming off like two tougher games.
Okay.
And I just think Washington manages to just surprise them. Not to mention, I don't think Seattle's everything people think they are. I think they're better than Washington, but I just think Washington catches them here.
I think they can. Kind of the same way we were talking about the Giants and a couple of the teams they play is the same weight class. I put them in the same weight class too. I will give Seattle the win strictly over, and strictly because they have enough offensive pieces, and I guess Geno we'll have to see if he plays good football again this year. They just threw him on like the top 80 of the...
Yeah, I know, the top 100.
Yeah, which I think is just complete bullshit.
It's ridiculous. He's not in the top 200.
Well, yeah, 100%, but whatever. So, yeah, I'll give it to Seattle strictly because their offensive weapons are, in my opinion, a little bit more interesting to look at.
They definitely are.
Mm-hmm.
Week 11, Giants home game. I got them winning that.
Yep, same.
Going to Dallas, I say they lose.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I got them losing to Miami.
Yep.
So going into the bye week in week 14, this is a team with a late bye.
Yeah.
I've got them
It is late.
3-11.
I
Or is it
believe
3-10? Yeah, 3-10. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I've got them 2-11 at that point.
Nice. Coming out of the bye, I got them losing to the Rams.
Oh, excuse me, I do have them 3-11 because I have or 3-10 because of the Falcons. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Rams the win.
Fair enough.
Just because
Me too.
Yeah.
Got them losing to the Jets.
Yeah, of course.
Losing to the 49ers.
Of course.
And I got them beating Dallas because I think Dallas will have a wild card spot in
Pretty
like
much
locked.
Yeah.
And they'll rest like they did last year.
This does seem like the time where they would win one on the Cowboys. Like
They did it last year too.
Yeah, exactly.
Week 18 they beat Dallas.
Yep. So I'm gonna say the same thing, but at the end of the day, that leaves them with literally 4 wins. So.
Yep, 4-13. I think we're gonna have a new regime in Washington.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of a sad, final going out for this Washington team. And to be honest with you, the name, everything, like.
Yeah, they're probably they're saying they might change that again,
Which is just.
Well, it's hilarious.
Like, you know what? Good on them for realizing the Commanders suck and excuse me, not.
Well, did you hear that? Like, they went to apply for the trademark on it, but somebody else already owns that.
Hilarious.
The trademark of Washington Commanders.
Hilarious.
Somebody else already owns it.
Hilarious.
We didn't check that out before.
I was gonna say, does that not sound like the most Washington organization thing?
That's a Dan Snyder move for sure.
Is that we came up with a fucking name, we told people about, this is what
good
we're gonna
name.
go with, and then everybody's disappointed about the name. And then they didn't even check for a trademark when they came up with a name. That is the most Dan Snyder Washington organization thing ever.
Yep, so good luck to Josh Harris.
I'm looking forward to hopefully, because this is a classic NFL franchise.
They are. Back when, and I know a bunch of people are going to clutch their pearls when I say this, but there was a time when the Redskins were like one of like the premier franchises in the
100%.
league. They have more Super Bowls than you think they do.
Yeah.
I think they have, it's either 3 or 4.
Denver fans, they beat you.
Like, I think they have 4.
Yeah, they might. It might be. I think it's 3 or 4.
I know it's not 5 because there's only.
Then we'd be talking about it a lot more.
Well, there's only 4 franchises. No. Yeah, 4 franchises that have 5 or more. So San Fran, Dallas, Pittsburgh, and New England have 5 or 6.
Okay.
So it's the cap is 4.
I think it's 3. I really do.
Could be
4.
All I know is they're way better than anybody would think we are. Would think we are.
Yeah, you're a Commanders guy, huh?
Not even. Than anybody would think they are.
Right.
Because none of us have really ever seen them be good.
Yeah, that was when like Mark Ripien.
I can't remember the last time. I think the best season I've ever seen them have was the 2012 RG3 year.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, they've made the playoffs in there, but
they've made the playoffs here and there with
chance.
Cousins, but it wasn't really anything like serious.
No, but they've never had like a real chance. So I would love to see that franchise get restored because I think I'm amazed by how many of like the premier cities in our nation just have shit sports teams.
Yeah,
like New York almost never has a good team.
I know.
Washington never does. LA tends to be pretty good, but Chicago doesn't.
And Dodgers.
Yeah. But it's always so funny. It's like our nation's capital just has all crap teams, basically.
Team, yeah, I can't name.
So I would love to see a good team in the nation's capital again.
Absolutely.
So
I'm interested to see this is the closest thing we're gonna get to a Madden like franchise rebuild, basically, of like when you go in and you're the team owner and you can relocate to some crazy ass place.
Don't relocate.
No. I'm not.
I heard they are relocating technically
to Virginia.
No. They are gonna get out of that trashy stadium in Virginia, and they're gonna rebuild like a newer stadium in DC proper.
Oh, really?
Thank God.
Interesting. Okay. I agree with you 100%. I'm interested to see. Okay, here's
no more sewage falling on people, please.
Right. Here's the second time in our lifetimes that we're seeing a team get renamed, which is crazy to think about. It's the same team.
I was about to say. Is it the same team?
It's the same team. Yeah. This is the second. It's. We'll see, man. I'd like them to be relevant. I'd like the name to be cool. I'd like the team to do well.
It needs to be something way more specific to Washington.
If they're going to DC proper, they need to change it to DC. And I'm just gonna put it out there: make the colors red, white, and blue.
Can't.
You can't?
There's already three. There's 2 other teams that have something like that.
Yeah, but you could still find a way. There's a billion teams.
I mean, I don't care. I don't mind about a color change thing because their current colors were meant to fit the Redskins design.
And that's what I'm saying is the Washington Commanders right now.
Not to mention right now they're just ugly.
It looks like a football video game uniform that doesn't have the rights to the NFL teams.
High school.
So yeah, so it's like you're playing against the Dallas Sheriffs. And you're playing against the San Jose Sharks, which I know is a hockey team, but they're pretending it's a football team now. So the craziest thing about it is look, don't go Patriots colors, I get that. Don't go Bills colors, I'm not saying that, but definitely I think a navy and a white with some red accents, and going
that's basically that.
No, I understand that, but not in the same way. And then when you play the Patriots, you're wearing white, or one of you is wearing different colors.
Somebody switch it up.
We have a couple black
Patriots.
And red teams,
go throwbacks with the red jerseys for this game.
That'd be sick.
All right, that's fine. We're not going to talk about the Commanders and their jerseys anymore. The Dallas Cowboys. They start off their season in New York against the Giants. I think they get a resounding victory there.
Right. Same.
Week 2, they play the other New York team, but at home they play the Jets. And I think they beat the Jets.
I'm going to give the Jets the win. Because Aaron Rodgers and the Cowboys have history. And for some reason, Cowboys just get daddied by it.
This ain't Green Bay anymore.
That's fair. But I'd say the Jets team is better looking than this most recent Packers team. So
fair enough.
And he's wearing green.
He's wearing green, but I think this Jets team's overhyped. Week 3, Arizona, they beat Arizona.
Yes.
They beat New England in Week 4, too.
Yep.
They lose against their least favorite team right now. The 49ers. They go to San Fran and just nightmares get relived.
Sure, I agree.
Yeah. Against the Chargers, I think the Chargers beat them.
Yep, I say the same thing.
So they go into the bye week at 4-2. Not bad.
Yeah, I think I've got them 5-1. I got the Jets. No, 4-2. I did the Jets beating them. Or so do I have them?
You have them 3-3.
Yep, 3-3. Excuse me.
So coming out of the bye, they'll beat the Rams.
Yeah.
They'll go to Philly and lose.
Agreed.
They'll beat the Giants, get the sweep.
Right.
Go to Carolina. They'll beat the Panthers.
I agree.
Beat the Commanders.
I agree.
They'll lose to Seattle.
You have them losing to Seattle.
Yes. This is a game that they just.
It's a classic Cowboys. Just
they're too hot, and I think they're looking ahead a week.
Sure, I can see that. Okay, I'll say the same thing. I like your reasoning.
And then I think it pays off because I think they beat Philly in the home game.
Yeah. I'll give them the win over Philly.
The old Philly split,
Classic.
That sounds like something that should be on Urban Dictionary, but I don't want to look it up.
I really don't want to.
Yeah.
Don't tell us.
Don't tell us what the Philly split is.
Don't tell us what it is. We'll look it up later.
We'll come up with our own answer.
Yeah.
All right. Then I got them going to Buffalo and winning on the virtue of Buffalo's O-line is going to struggle with Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and that group.
I think that's completely reasonable, but I'm going to go with the Bills win.
All right, going to Miami, same logic. They'll beat Miami because Miami can't block them.
I will give them I'll give them the win over Miami because I'm giving them the loss against Buffalo.
Yep. All right. I got them again. Whenever it's getting good in Dallas, they eat it. So they're going to lose to Detroit.
I was going to say they lose to Detroit and they lose to the Commanders.
Yep.
And because they lose to Detroit, they bench everybody for Week 18.
Yep. I think that after the Detroit loss, they clinch a wild card.
Yep.
And then they're sit.
It's fuck it, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I think is, pretty succinct for their schedule. But overall, I think that you're dealing with a scenario that's fairly simple for them. They're one of the top 3 teams in the conference in terms of like talent and roster and everything like that. They just need to show me that they're not going to do some of like the typical Cowboy things, and because Mike McCarthy's still their coach, I think they will. So, I mean, America's team is going to be back in the playoffs and all that type of stuff, and depending on who they play at any given time, they could make the NFC title game depending on where the seedings lie and things like that.
I think they have the possibility to get completely blown out the first weekend of playoffs, and then they also do have that opportunity depending on how they play and what team shows up. Yeah, they could show up to the NFC title game.
Yeah, I don't know. Dallas is a team that I view them like the NFC's version of the Chargers.
Yeah.
Where, my God, are they talented. My God, does that roster look good.
Yep.
But my God, do they find a way to cowboy it every time.
Exactly. I can't believe in them. And people will say, why the hell are you giving the Chargers a pass? And you're critical of the Cowboys. Strictly because Justin Herbert's better than Dak Prescott. I'm
Mr. Consistency on both these two now.
I
got them both stumbling in places. And Cowboys have more wins because, frankly, they just have a slightly easier go of it.
And I'll give you that 100%, but strictly, Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in the league. Dak Prescott is not. I'm going to give the top 5 quarterback in the league a little bit more leeway and a little bit more faith than I am a guy who has to come out and say, I'll tell you what, I'm not throwing 10 interceptions this year.
It's funny.
It's like,
they both have the same.
Immediately, I'm betting over 10 interceptions.
He's going to have 10 interceptions by week 5.
Yeah.
Just because he said it.
Just because he said it. It's like, dude.
It's funny. They're both in the exact same scenario, the Chargers and the Cowboys. Uber talented. Tons of game changers everywhere.
Right.
Gotta fire that coach.
Gotta fire that coach. Mike McCarthy.
I think Dak Prescott's better than people give him credit for. He's not an elite quarterback, but he's a quarterback.
I'm not saying he's a bum.
No. But I will go this far as well. If you put him with a good coach and just a good supporting roster, he's a quarterback. I'll put it like this: if Dak Prescott was put on the 49ers, Dak Prescott's good enough to win the Super Bowl.
I think he's good enough, but
I'm not saying he's driving.
My biggest issue with the guy is in between the ears, and it's always been in between the ears.
Well, that's why you need Mike McCarthy to not put him in situations to compromise.
No, and I totally get that, but when you're saying, "Oh, he needs a more stacked roster," I'm like, "Bro, he's got one of the best defenses." I don't mean roster.
He's got I mean that they always do things in Dallas where they hold on to guys too long because Jerry Jones is a loyal son of a bitch.
I get that.
Great trait in general, but not in this.
I get that,
moment.
But I mean,
what I'm saying,
Michael Gallup, Dalton Schultz, Mari Cooper.
No, I get
Zeke,
that.
Tony, he's.
But I also think
great O-line.
He gets way too much blame because he is the Cowboys quarterback.
And I'll give you 50% of that, but the other 50%, I think he gets absolutely the blame he deserves because if you put Mahomes on that roster, Super Bowl. You put Josh Allen on that roster,
If you put Mahomes on almost any roster in the league.
All right, you put Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert, you switch teams, I think Justin Herbert wins the Super Bowl on that roster. I don't think Dak gets anywhere near.
I don't think Justin Herbert wins the Super Bowl with the Cowboys because I don't think that the team is not smart enough. They make dumb choices in really important moments.
I get that.
So
agree to disagree.
So when Justin Herbert lines up with Ezekiel Elliott as his center, what are we gonna do then? You know what I mean?
And yes, I know what you mean, and I'm not ever blaming Dak for that because holy shit, that's terrible.
As a fan watching that game, I could sense it before it even happened. I was like, this is going to be the thing where it ends on this.
And the funniest thing about it
is that anywhere.
Pat McAfee had this whole thing where he was like, holy shit, the Colts aren't known for the worst trick play in NFL history anymore. And it's basically the same play. But all right, so credit where credit's due, yes, you are in a position on a team with a head coach that makes the dumbest choices ever at the worst
I'm not going to die on the hill that Dak Prescott is the savior. But I will say this, especially in the conference that he's in, easily top 5 in the conference.
Top 5 in a weaker conference, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's all you need.
That's all you need, but here's the thing. You're also running up against a gauntlet who, whatever team comes out of the AFC is, in my opinion, favored in the Super Bowl for the next couple of years.
I don't think that's true. I think it's styles make fights on that because I think that Philly and San Fran both have a really good shot at beating any of them.
And that's
Dallas. I think is a little bit of a weirder thing. But here's the other thing. I think Dallas is better set up to do to disrupt certain teams also because the three teams that we mentioned, San Fran, Philly, Dallas, they all rush like a son of a bitch. Like, if you can sell, like, it doesn't, like, this cost the Bengals the Super Bowl. If Joe Burrow is not on his feet in the Super Bowl, they won't win. We saw Mahomes lose the Super Bowl the same way,
sure.
And we've seen Josh Allen struggle to get, like, hasn't been able to get to a Super Bowl because of the same types of things.
I get it.
So, if you can just get there, you got a chance, especially with the uniquely built things they have. But I'm not going to sit here and, like, I'm not dying on the hill of that. I'm not predicting Dallas gets there. I'm just saying Dallas has I would say a 1 in 3 shot of getting there.
Sure. I just don't have as much faith in Dak Prescott as a lot of these people seem to be having. Personally, I think he's one of the issues on that team. I think he's just a Derek Carr level guy, and not Derek Carr before the whole leg injury, and when he was on track of potentially being an MVP top guy in the league.
Yeah.
I think
what
Dak
a wild
Prescott's,
year that was.
Yeah, I think he's just and people are going to make the jokes, but the joke that he's a Kirk Cousins level player, I think is absolutely accurate. And in my opinion,
I might rather have Kirk Cousins.
I have Kirk Cousins higher, but I think there's that kind of, it's like that there's that cap where it's like, all right, Kirk Cousins is, and we talked about this the other day, Kirk Cousins is relatively a disrespected quarterback in the league, and I'll give Dak Prescott the same moniker. He's been disrespected. The problem is, I understand where the disrespect is coming from towards Dak Prescott as opposed to Kirk Cousins. So I would say that they're relatively on the same level.
It comes from the same place. They don't win the big games.
They don't win the big games. Dak's got a little bit of that hero ball in him that can kind of bite him in the ass a little bit. There are moments where Dak just doesn't show up to the game that you need him to be at. And I'm putting 50% of the blame on him because he does have a great offense. He does have one of the best O-lines in the league. He does have a dominating defense that absolutely can shut down one of those AFC powerhouse
I think that O-line is getting too much credit. That O-line is good on paper, but Tyron Smith's not playing the whole year.
No, and they're no longer as good as they were when Zeke was first
really
brought in the league.
It's really like Zach Martin stays elite, but the rest of that O-line switches more than people talk about.
No, and I get that. They're no longer at their peak, but they're still here's the thing. Joe Burrow had a worse O-line, got to the Super Bowl, was a play and a half.
Well, nobody's talking about Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow.
No, and that's not what I'm saying. But and I'm not saying, here. That's just the example of here's why I give Justin Herbert the edge in this conversation of both. Like, I think they're both the same team. AFC and AFC and NFC. They both are that volatile team that can either show up or not show up. I'm always going to give more of an edge to a quarterback who I think who can make up for anything their team.
No, it's true. I'm just saying.
I
think that the Cowboys and the Chargers will go basically exactly as far as the other one this year. I think both those teams have like their cap right at the divisional round.
Sure, and I think that's relatively fair. But
all right,
that's all I got on.
So ultimately, I got Dallas going 11-6.
I have them,
which should be enough to make the playoffs.
I have them a harsher 9-8, but I do feel like 10-7, 11-6 is possible.
Yeah. All right, so time to move on to the Philadelphia Eagles, last year's NFC chumps. They start off their season in New England, and I think they win.
Yeah. I'm gonna
week 2, they played Minnesota and Philly. Win.
But yeah, I do want to give the Vikings the win as just kind of this.
Me too.
We're better.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I can, to be honest with you.
At Tampa, win.
Yeah, I'll give them the Tampa win.
Washington, win.
Yep.
At Rams, win.
Yep.
At Jets, loss.
I'm gonna go. That's where they get their first loss too.
Yep. Week 7, Miami, loss.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that?
I just think Miami can just do more, and earlier in the season, they're likely to be healthy.
Okay. I will say Philly gets the win, but I would not be surprised if this is just a 2-game quick little stumble they make.
Yep. At Washington, win. They sweep Washington this year.
Yep.
Home game against Dallas, win.
Yep.
So they go into their bye week in Week 10 at 7-2. Good place to be.
I got them 8-1.
They come out of the bye week and they beat Kansas City.
I would love for that to happen.
And this is because they're in the bye week.
I
don't think they are better than Kansas City, though.
I'd love for that to happen, but I'm gonna give Kansas City the win.
Buffalo, I say they beat Buffalo.
I have Buffalo beating them.
I got same reason for a lot of these things. Buffalo's going to struggle with some teams that are really nasty pass rushers.
Sure.
Week 13, San Francisco, San Fran beats them.
Yep.
At Dallas, Dallas beats them.
Yep.
So I got them with two game skids. They go to Seattle and they win.
Yep.
They beat the Giants.
Yep.
They beat the Cardinals.
Yep.
They beat the Giants.
Yep.
So they are going to go, in my estimation, 13-4, mostly on the back of they don't play a ton of tough teams again.
Yeah, I have them 12-5. I do think the Chiefs and Andy Reid gets them.
I would love that personally.
Yeah.
I'd root for that.
I actually am rooting for the opposite, but I'm just gonna be pretty comfortable with. And I might in the AFC West video I might say the complete opposite, but in this situation I'm just gonna give Kansas City the nod. I'm gonna give the Bills the nod. Niners are definitely gonna win it, and like we did say when we were going through the Cowboys, I think they do split at the Cowboys look ahead.
I'd love it if Dallas swept them.
It would be interesting, but yeah, they start off hot. They have a couple losses against really good teams, which just kind of helps them out a little bit, actually humbles them a bit, and then they go on a run, and then they're in the offs. And
well, here's what I'll also say about them. I don't think they're going to look as good as they did last year.
No, I don't
because
think
that
so
Super
either.
Bowl hangover thing's real.
Yeah,
and
I don't think so either. I think
we'll see.
I think against some of these top tier teams, Niners, Bills, Chiefs, if they play the Bengals, I'd give the Bengals the nod.
Not to mention, here's the other thing. I think Nick Sirianni has become wildly overhyped.
Oh yeah,
I mean, come on, dude. I could have dropped almost any coach in the league on that team.
roster. And yeah, no, he's very much riding the coattails of what Howie Roseman has brought.
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
team, the talent that he's brought in. So I don't think he's that. I think that's partially the reason we saw him lose the Super Bowl. He got outcoached by Andy Reid, and that's going to happen.
No shame on that front.
There's going to be a lot of coaches who get outcoached by Andy Reid. So
most of them.
I'm not using that as a chance to knock the guy, but I think it's just a situation of, okay, we have an upper echelon of head coaches. Nick Sirianni is not one of them.
Nick Sirianni is firmly in the third tier.
The Matt LaFleur tier.
Yeah.
It's not the floor, it's the LaFleur.
Yeah, the LaFleur tier, yeah.
But overall, I've got the Eagles a crisp 12-5. I've got the Cowboys at 9-8.
I got the Cowboys a game behind, or 2 games behind them.
Yep, which is understandable. I got the Giants at 5-12. And I've got the Commanders at a 4-13.
Yeah, so I got Eagles 13-4, Cowboys 11-6, Giants 5-12, Commies 4-13.
That you can't make that shit up. Like the
I can't believe nobody saw it coming.
The team that literally is in America's capital is red and is nicknamed the Commies because Commanders sucks. I don't know how that happens, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But in terms of the Eagles overall, man, they had a solid offseason, things like that. I don't think the Eagles are what everybody thinks they are. They get a lot of easy wins sort of fed to them.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that. Again, I'm gonna just talk about the offseason, the past couple of off seasons that they've had, where they reload.
They're very good.
They keep bringing it. Yep, Howie Roseman consistently brings in the right pieces, and again, if he doesn't, he gets rid of them very quickly.
Congrats, Philly. You guys are off-season champs every year.
Hey, congrats to you guys. I do think they are a very talented roster.
They are.
Jalen Hurts is a fine quarterback. I'm not going to go top 5.
Hell no.
No, there are better quarterbacks in the league, including, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence. However, very clearly he's a gifted athlete and smart enough with the football that he's not going to lose a game for his team.
Yeah.
We'll see prove it to me again. It's a 2-year thing. I think we both made that kind of the statement of this show of, fantastic. If you can do it for 1 year, that's great. Prove it 2 years, and then we'll start talking, consistency and
this is what you
and the respect. So this is let's see if they can have another year like last year. I don't know if it's going to end in an NFC title game or
it won't
even making it to an NFC title game. However, I will say that roster is freaking good. They only got better this offseason with depth and bringing.
I'm not sure they got better, but I think they
didn't
maintained.
get worse. They did not get worse.
No, I'm not saying they got worse. I'm saying I think that they held.
And if that's,
which is fine.
And if that's all they did, then with how good that team is, or how good that team was last year, then I expect a very similar output. I just don't think they're going to go as far in the playoffs this year.
No, I don't think that they'll be winning as dominantly.
No, I think there'll be a lot more closer games. I think they'll prove that they can win and they can be consistent winners, I don't think they're going to be this team that nobody has an answer to anymore.
Yeah, except on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. That's pretty unstoppable.
Pretty tough, yeah.
I'm just hoping every team's like, all right, then we'll do it too.
I guarantee you, because there was a whole rule change that they tried to propose for it because it's so broken, and then Philly literally was like, I think there's a quote from Dallas Goedert out there or something where he's like, oh, stop us, don't let us have a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. It's like,
listen, bitch,
okay,
we're already in a league where you can't touch you, so whatever.
No, just make it super easy.
Offensive players are such pussies.
But hey, then again, you've got the QB sneak that Tyler Huntley tried to pull off in the playoffs, and Sam Hubbard took it 99 yards for a touchdown. So who knows?
Depends on the quarterback.
Yep. Who knows? So,
yeah. But
anyways, yeah, I think I got the Eagles.
I got Philly, Dallas, Giants, then Commies. Yep. I wouldn't be shocked if Giants or Commanders switch, but whatever.
They're only a game apart, in my opinion.
Yep.
So it could be even the games they play each other that switches. So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that is the NFC East, and now it's time to move on to the NFC West. Let's get the Cardinals out of the way. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna keep this really short and sweet. Yeah. Okay. I have them going 1-16, and that one win is in Week 1.
Good for them.
So it's essentially, they win Week 1 in Washington.
They started off above 500.
That's right, and I'm just going to rattle them off.
Okay.
They lose to the Giants, lose to the Cowboys, lose to the 49ers, lose to Cincinnati, lose to the Rams, lose to Seattle, lose to Baltimore, and Cleveland, and Atlanta, and Houston, and the Rams, and Pittsburgh. They don't lose the bye week, but it's a push.
It's a close game.
Yeah, it's a close game, but they don't lose the bye week.
They pull it off.
Then they lose to San Fran, Chicago, Philly, and Seattle.
I will give them...
Unless, again, the only other option for a win, Seattle's clinched a wild card and does not play anybody in week 18. Other than that, I won't favor them. I'm sure they will win a game in there.
Sure. They don't go.
I'm not picking it. The only other one that I would maybe think, I'm like, maybe Houston, depending on how things are looking.
I'm going to give them the Bears and Houston and go 2-15.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think both of those.
I don't think they're close enough to Chicago.
No, I don't think they're close enough either. But I think Chicago is not close enough to anything that they could just drop it.
I also think that we're going to reach a point where they're like, we're just not going to play Kyler Murray this year.
Yeah, I also think that too. Which is, again, I think that it's so rare for a team to only win one game.
That's why I'm saying I'm certain they'll win more.
Sure,
but I'm not picking them because again, here's the other thing. I don't know when Kyler Murray's coming back.
If he comes
back. And the Cardinals aren't good anyways.
Yep, even with him around. So.
Yeah. And if I was going to pick a game where it's like, okay, they could legitimately win this game, you would have to tell me he's playing because their backups ain't it.
Yeah, the way my thought process is working is by week 11.
They have a defensive head coach too. Yeah. That offense is going to be
duty. So yeah, in my opinion, I'm going to give them 2 wins, and I'm going to give them the 2 wins that make the most sense to me, which is 2 other bad teams. I think Chicago is, after what they pulled off with this trade and everything.
I just think they're better.
I do think they're better.
Yeah.
I don't know how much better, and if Kyler Murray is playing because he has to at that point, and they are playing him, then I would say...
Why would he have to play?
Because he came back... So I'm hearing he might come back week 6. If he's coming back week 6...
If he's coming back week 6, I will pick them to beat Houston.
Well, that's what I'm saying is if he comes back week 6, they're not going to shut him down 4 weeks later. So
my only thing I would consider if I'm them, if say that they're 0-6 in week 6, I'm not playing you at all.
Well, that's the thing is
I
don't know if the new regime over in Arizona is ready to do that. So
there also is this big thing looming over this whole thing. They are potentially likely to be first pick, second pick, that type of range.
Oh, absolutely.
And Caleb Williams and Drake May are looming.
So do you think they actually potentially do they Josh Rosen Kyler again?
I don't think it's Josh Rosening him because there would be a lot of teams that would want him.
Sure.
But
replacing him, they should take a draft haul. They already paid the quarterback. You might as well take the draft haul.
Well, that's why I'm saying do not play him. If you play him and he gets hurt again, you cannot get what you want.
That's true.
If this is a year where the Cardinals have accepted, we're going to eat it. Do not play him at all.
And I think that's fair. My thought process is they aren't accepting that. They're probably going to roll with Kyler Murray because they paid him. their new regime wants to see if their quarterback.
What I would
is
love
the
to see is they get the first overall pick, and I wouldn't be shocked if Caleb Williams seems the type to be like, I won't go here.
He's a total loser, and this is coming from a USC fan. I genuinely don't like the kid, but that's not what this conversation's about. He's talented, and I will say that. Personally, I think you pay your quarterback around $250 million, and you put a clause in.
Get that study clause.
Get that study clause. To be completely honest, they're probably going to Chicago it. That's how I view it. Is you've got to run the quarterback.
I don't hate that either.
Yeah,
and you want to know?
I think that's how they go.
And do you want to know what their scenario is better than Chicago's was?
Oh, 100%.
Because there was a lot of people who were like, listen, everybody thought Bryce Young's super talented, but he had the thing of the size.
Right.
Nobody has those types of red flags about Caleb Williams or Drake May.
Yep.
So it's sort of like, you could get more. And hell, you could do it twice. You could trade whoever second pick. You could let them trade to 1, take their shit, and then trade down again.
If
there's options.
And based on what I saw from the Cardinals in this past draft, where I genuinely think they made some good moves and got the pieces they need, I feel like that really could be the case again. So, and if they end up finessing it like that, good on them. I'm not a big Kyler supporter. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a top 12 quarterback in the league right now. Sure, is he interesting when it comes?
Well, also put it like this: he's also top 5 in the NFC.
I don't know.
Who in the NFC South are you going to take?
Nobody in the NFC South.
Okay, who in the North?
Kirk Cousins. I would take Kirk Cousins over him. I'd take Jared Goff over him.
That one fit.
Me personally, I'm not going to objectively say that, but me personally, I'd rather have Jared Goff than Cousins.
All right, who in the West?
In the West?
And with the consideration that Matthew Stafford is likely not around.
I am still picking Matthew Stafford over Kyler Murray. And then Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts from the East. That's 5 people I'd put above him.
Fair enough. I would put him over Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is serviceable, but not like...
He did better than Kyler did last year. Before injury.
It is what it is. Like between the two, one of them's more dynamic, and that's just like a taste thing.
And sure.
Then we'll see. But listen, we agree on one thing.
They're gonna have a bad year. They're gonna have a bad year.
This isn't it. And by the way, I wouldn't be shocked if Jonathan Gannon is fired after a year.
I would 100% believe it if you told me he's a patsy coach and they're gonna bring in somebody else. 100%. There's going to be somebody who halfway through the NFL season. There's going to be massive head coaching rumors.
This is like him. This is like when the Bears hired freaking Matt Eberflus.
Yeah,
I don't understand why when you're developing a young quarterback, you bring in the defensive guy.
Makes no sense. Bring in a guy who knows
in the modern era specifically.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
And I don't even. And never mind. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm big on that too because you already know. Drew Lock should have had a better coach than Vic Fangio.
All right, we're definitely not going to go down that road.
Well, we are in the NFC West now.
We are. He's not in the NFC West anymore.
Yeah, he is.
Vic Fangio?
No, I'm talking Drew Lock.
Oh, yeah. Well, that doesn't matter. The Seattle Seahawks. Let's roll. Week 1 against the Rams. Rams come out swinging and steal one off Seattle right away.
I think they want to look good, fast, and hey, we're not out yet, and they definitely pull this one off, but we'll get to the Rams soon enough. I don't think it's going to be a good year for them either.
No. Go week 2 at Detroit. I got them winning this game because I think that Detroit, for a lot of things, I think Detroit could sort of get caught up in their own hype,
sure,
and stumble out of the gate, but ultimately be all right.
I'm gonna go Lions on this one.
Yeah.
What the hell? As you know, I'm a Jared Goff supporter.
Wait a minute. What the hell was I doing here?
Your best.
Oh, I know why I gave them the Seattle game. It's because I just simply couldn't have the Lions having as many wins as I had initially. So I just picked one and gave it to them. And that's Seattle.
Fair enough.
I don't think Seattle's better. I guess I was just like, Detroit just can't win that much. They just won't.
Fair enough. I'm gonna give it to the Lions. As you saw, I'm a Jared Goff supporter. So.
Yep. I'll be rooting for Detroit. Week 3 against Carolina. I got them winning this game because I've done this with a lot of the rookies. It's really early on in the season. I am leaving more room for them to improve and still be figuring it out. And Seattle's good enough that if you're still figuring it out, they can beat you.
I'm going to give Seattle the nod too, strictly, Pete Carroll with a younger quarterback. I think he's going to be able to kind of confuse him, get in his head a little bit, welcome to the NFL. Not to, I think the Panthers at the end of this year could be on Seattle's level almost.
I agree with that.
Potentially. The weapons over in Seattle are far superior than Panthers, but I think the quarterback by the end of the year could be superior over in Carolina. So
I would arguably already take him.
I would take him now myself, but I do think they stumble.
Yeah.
And Seattle pulls out the win.
And then week 4, they go to New York to play the Giants. They win that game too.
Yes.
So then they go into the bye at 3-1, and then they fall to 3-2 in Cincinnati coming out of the bye.
Yeah, I've got them 2-2, and then 2-3 losing to the Bengals.
They beat Arizona.
Excuse me, I do have them 3.
And then they beat.
They beat Arizona.
And then I got them beating Cleveland.
That'd be great. I'd love that.
Let's go with it.
Absolutely, I'm going with it. DK put up 4 touchdowns.
All right, and then they go to Baltimore. Baltimore beats them.
I agree. This is early enough in the year where I think Baltimore is getting close to collapsing.
They're about to fall off, but they haven't yet.
But they haven't yet.
I've got Washington beating them because I think Cleveland and Baltimore just wear you down.
Yep.
And then they go to the Rams, and I think they split with the Rams, or they get swept by the Rams. Look at that. Good for you, LA.
Shout out LA. Yeah, I think they do.
Part of the reason I think I picked this is also Sean McVay has had a really weird way of just always beating Seattle.
Yeah.
So I'm just going with that too.
Credit where credit's due. I'm going to go with the same thing. I got the Rams beating them as well, and then going into the Niners, Cowboys, Niners, they lose all 3.
I want them to lose all 3, but for a similar reason as they did with the Lions thing, I got them losing to San Fran. I've got them beating San Fran in the home game, losing the away game, and then beating Dallas. I just simply this was another matter of I needed to find losses for the 49ers, and I decided one of the 3 because the San Fran stretch in that range is Seattle, Philly, Seattle.
That's tough.
So I was I'll say that they drop 1 in there.
I think that's
and it'll be in the toughest place.
I can respect that.
Yeah, so that's where I picked it. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
The Seahawks, if they don't lose all 3 of those games and San Fran just sweeps them.
Yeah.
Because, San Fran, Dallas, San Fran is also tough. But it's, I don't know. that's just a tough stretch for both of them. Where I don't think either one gets through that 3-0.
No, and I respect that. I will give you the nod, but I would not be surprised if San Fran.
Trust me, I hate it.
Out of that. Yeah. No, and I get that. But I'll do you the favor. And say,
appreciate you.
Yeah, they win.
Allow me to look somewhat objective, even though it chafes.
I see. This is where we're different. Me, I'm like, maybe we go 15-2.
If we have a bad year,
if we have a bad 15-2, and that 2 is letting Cleveland beat us at the end of the year because we have the first seed locked.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so they go San Fran. They win the home game. They lose in Dallas, or they win in Dallas also.
Okay. And then
I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas beats them, but then they lose against the 49ers again.
Okay.
And then they lose to Philly.
Yeah. Lose to Philly.
They go to Tennessee and win.
I think I have the Titans beating them.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
They beat Pittsburgh and they beat Arizona.
Steelers beating them, and then they beat Arizona to finish off.
Fair enough. I would love it if Pittsburgh beats them. So ultimately, I've got Seattle finishing up at 10-7. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I've got them 4 and 12, 15 or 4 and.
No, do you really?
Yeah, 4 and 13. I did not give them anything.
I love that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I realized I'm Yeah,
he's got everyone
I was
beating them.
I was yep, they get swept by the Rams. They get swept by the Niners. They beat the Cardinals twice. Good job, 2 wins.
In Seattle, I need you to understand.
They beat the Panthers.
I'm the one that hates you.
Yeah, they beat the Panthers. They beat the Giants. There's 4.
That's how you know I have That's how you know I have the capacity to be objective. Is I despise you and still gave you 10-7.
Yeah, I gave them. I gave them 5 and 12.
All right, so, I hope yours is right. I'm just trying to be as.
I think last year was, especially with Geno, it's a little bit of a fluke.
I just think that there's too many games in there that they can just get.
I
default.
think it's possible, and I'm not saying they're bad. I just I'm giving all of the swing games away. So
you win nothing.
To be fair, that is an absolute brutal stretch, and there are a couple games where to give you credit, they probably don't go 0-3 versus Cowboys. They probably get one on you guys, or they lose 2 to you and they maybe pull it off from the Cowboys. Who knows?
The other reason why I sacrificed one of the Seattle games, I'm like, I fucking want Philly. I'm cool if we look past the first Seattle game to be like, you!
And completely understandable, because I'm going to be doing the same thing when we're 2 weeks out on Kansas City. I'm going to be like, all right.
I don't care. We are doing Philly prep.
Exactly. It's like, we're
I think Philly's doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. So I will give you that 100%. But in my opinion, they need a quarterback. They have a great amount of interesting weapons over there. They need a legit quarterback.
Their offense is also notoriously basic. It's not a very creative offense that they run. It's an old school offense.
Figure it out and you can stop them. As much as I'd like to say Drew Lock's the answer,
he is not.
He's going to be an answer for a different team.
Now, you know what? Your record might be more correct if he starts. Were you projecting with Drew Lock in mind? Because you might have nailed it.
No, if Drew Lock's playing, he's taking him to the odds.
Boom!
But what I will say is, I think this could be, they go 5-12, and then they could be one of those teams that trades up with Arizona. Which, granted, interdivisional, they may not want to do that and set Seattle up with a quarterback who's going to beat their ass for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is relatively possible. Or they trade up to the second pick and they go with whoever Arizona doesn't take, or who Arizona traded to gets their first pick, and then they're. I mean, if you're rolling with Drake Mays, not a bad round, not a bad second pick.
Get high.
Yeah,
they're not gonna be that high.
Well, based on my record, they're 5-12. I say they're about a couple picks away.
We'll see. We still got Tampa Bay to go.
That's true. That is true. Tampa Bay could be up there as well.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay will be taking.
Now, I have also mentioned that if there was a year where the football gods just did not want to look down upon my team at all, hurt us all in training camp and let us just fix our problem potentially.
Leave Brock Purdy alone.
I hope he's great,
he's
next
Tom Brady.
I would love that, but naturally, after the shit I've been dealing with,
sure,
I am apprehensive.
No, I get it, and that's what I'm saying is, I mean, with how cocky I am about Joe Burrow, it's like, look, when you have NFL media talking about you're a quarterback and they say top 2 in the league, there's just a good feeling about that some other teams are never going to have that conversation. Like, Seattle's never going to be hearing about Geno Smith as a top 5 quarterback or an MVP candidate. They're not going to be talking about, the Bills are probably in the same position of, oh my God, we have a guy who is, since fucking Jim Kelly, this is the best quarterback we've had and has the opportunity to take us to by far. So at
this point, everybody forgets that Buffalo missed the playoffs for 15 years.
Oh, absolutely. Which, you're welcome, Buffalo. We did that for you. That's why we're
Red Rifle, dude.
That's why we're like this.
Not anymore. All right, so we'll go Rams next. Okay. What a joy this team's going to be. I want to start off with. We'll discuss the team more at the end. We'll just get to the schedule first. So week 1 in Seattle, got them winning.
Yep.
Week 2, San Fran, no chance.
Yeah, I'm going San Fran as well.
At Cincy, no. At Indy, this is a possible one, but I gave it to Indy because I just think the Rams. We'll get to this at the end, but I'll start with it now. I don't get what the Rams are trying to do.
I think they're paying the price of going all in these past few years.
And what I'm saying is, so it used to be they had a bunch of stars, and then they had a bunch of good role players.
Yep.
They got a couple stars and no good role players right now.
Yep,
and the Colts, even if the Colts are not like an elite team, the Colts are more well-rounded than the Rams are. So I'm going to go with Colts beat them, and then Philly beats them.
I'm going to go with win over the Colts, just because you got Anthony Richardson week 4, probably figuring it out still. So I'm going to give the nod to a Super Bowl winning quarterback over a rookie figuring it out as of right now. I could be wrong. I could see this going, the way that you just said. They do lose to Philly, and then they bounce back and beat the Cardinals.
Beat Arizona.
Oh, absolutely. And then I've got them losing to the Steelers.
They're right back down on the skid, dude.
Yep.
Lose Pittsburgh, lose Dallas, lose Green Bay, and to the bye.
Yep.
So in that Week 10 bye, I've got them sitting pretty at 2-7.
I think I gave them
You gave him one more.
Yeah, 3 and 6 start. So.
All right. Coming out of the bye, beat Seattle, beat Arizona. So we're feeling good.
Feeling great.
We're at 4-7 now.
The run is here.
And Cleveland and Baltimore both beat them.
Yep, and it's over.
Yeah. Now we're at 4-9. Then they beat Washington.
I do have them beating Washington.
And then they lose to New Orleans, the Giants, and the 49ers again.
I'm going to have the Saints beat them. I'm going to have them beat the Giants, but then they do lose the Niners.
And I'll concede this, just like I have for other ones. They could beat the 49ers in Week 18 because it's possible the 49ers don't
have their playoff spot locked. Yep.
Yeah.
So I get that. I'm with you on that one. And I don't think this is going to be a good year for the Rams, strictly because, hey, man, the bill comes due for everybody eventually. So, you know what? You found a way to get a ring out of it.
Yeah, congrats.
Good
bastards.
on you. Whatever. Fuck you.
God, I hate you guys.
I hate you more.
No, you don't.
Fuck you, Aaron Donald.
You don't hate them more.
Do you understand how cool it would have been if Joe Burrow, in the span of 3 years, won a national championship and then also won a Super Bowl?
Do you understand what it would have been like had we simply caught an interception that was essentially a punt and won the NFC, and we would have come to beat you?
Nah, whatever. We would have won that year.
You would not have.
We would have won that year.
We were better than they were.
I don't care. Joe Burrow magic.
No way.
It would have been redemption.
We played you that year and beat you.
I don't care.
Okay. we were the last team that beat you in your house.
That's perfectly acceptable. Joe Burrow is an animal. Joe Burrow's an animal, and he probably would have used that to be more motivated to kick your guys' ass.
Do you know what the best part about this is? Neither of us got that.
So annoyed.
Oh.
Fuck you, LA.
God.
Sorry, LA. I love you.
I don't love anything about you right now.
I love you, Ken.
I'm just bitter. All right, so yeah, I got the Rams overall. What was that? 5-12.
I have them.
Congrats, boys.
I think I have them at a 6-11. I gave them one extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't get the Rams. You have a whole bunch of these players.
Oh, I get the Rams. It's literally the salary cap is on in Madden.
No. I'm saying I don't understand why some of the stuff that happened this offseason happened. So you have guys like Aaron Donald and McVay and Stafford who all considered retiring. And they all came back with this statement: we're here to compete this year. What do you think is going to happen?
It's going to be another rough year.
Are these guys completely stupid?
I don't think they're stupid. I'd give them the nod of the pride aspect of it.
Yeah, great. Walk out.
I don't know what it is about, but you're going to get Stafford retiring this year.
He's not. They tried to trade him this offseason.
Yeah, he's going to retire this year. I don't think Aaron Donald plays much more football, strictly because there's just nothing left for him to do, and he doesn't seem motivated.
The dudes are. I'm not going to say he's not motivated.
No,
I don't need Aaron Donald showing up and killing me.
I'm not afraid to lose a fist fight.
I'm not afraid to lose a fist fight. I'm afraid to get murdered by Aaron Donald.
What else do I have to accomplish in this world? Like, just take me out.
No, okay, I will disagree with Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald does not want to end his career on an injury year, which is what he had. And I think he's going to come back and be the best defensive tackle in football again, then retire.
I think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year again.
I don't think he's going to do that, but
I think that's what his goal is.
I can already tell you right now who's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Nick Bosa, bro.
No.
Oh.
No, Micah Parsons is going to win because the league, A, wants him to, and B, he is really fucking good.
He's incredible.
Like, he is a phenomenal player.
I'm not going to take that away from him.
That, like, the hype's been there around him for really the first 2 years of his career, and he was the second place guy this year.
Von Miller deserved a Defensive Player of the Year.
Which year? Because Von Miller's peak coincided when J.J. Watt went wild.
I know, that sucks.
So that's sort of Von Miller was always the second best defensive player every single year.
And it's the same thing with Drew Brees and MVP. It's
that one's ridiculous.
There were some years where he was the MVP.
No, but defensive player next year, I think Aaron Donald's going to be great, but I think Micah Parsons, the momentum's all there for him, where unless he gets hurt, he's going to win.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's absolutely possible. I'd put my money down on it. I don't think the return would be that great, so I'm not going to.
No, you'd probably a betting favorite for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
if you wanted to make your money on it, you'd be like, okay.
I'd put $20 down on Pat Surtain.
It'd be like, he just...
It's $20.
I know.
It's not gonna. He's not.
I would love to see it. I think that
if the payout's $1,000, that's a good bet.
It's the same reason, not necessarily because he's better, but just because the hype train's real. If Sauce Gardner plays really well, some people will do it just because everybody talks about him anyways. But I think you're looking at Micah Parsons, or I think they don't love giving up back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year stuff unless you go wild. So Nick Bosa would have to go really crazy, which is possible. But I wouldn't be shocked if Myles Garrett gets it, because sometimes all you got to do is lead the league in sacks. And he can do it, but we'll see. But back to the Rams. I don't get Stafford coming back, and I don't get McVay coming back.
I think McVay didn't want to leave just because this is the first year it went bad. Okay, I'm out. So I think it's a pride thing for him, which is, I did well. I did, I was one of the youngest coaches.
Yeah, I get that.
I pulled off a Super Bowl appearance, and now I pulled off a Super Bowl win, and then I have one bad year, and I take a massive contract to go. Like the narrative on McVay the media would totally eventually get to a narrative of, when the going got hard, he left.
Yeah, whatever. He went to one of the worst jobs or perceived worst jobs in the league.
And he turned Jared Goff into a really great quarterback.
Like,
statistically.
To me, what he did is like pretty unimpeachable.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The NFL is all about what have you done for me lately. And if you leave without doing something for me lately, then you're going to have an entire, and especially LA football, they're going to have that conversation in bars around the fucking, city.
No, they're not. They're too busy talking about the Raiders.
Yeah, whatever.
LA's too busy with the Raiders, dude.
Whatever. But I would say that makes sense to me that he would want to come back and prove, like, hey, I'm not just it went really well and now I'm out kind of thing. I don't understand the Stafford thing, which is why, and the reason I also think Sean McVay is actually going to stay for longer is because of the Stetson Bennett pick. Not because I think Stetson Bennett is Matthew Stafford reincarnate and 2.0, but why pick a fucking quarterback at a decently high round who is relatively...
He's never going to play for the Rams. I'm telling you right now.
He plays next year.
No, he does not.
Oh, he plays next year.
The Rams are going to, if they are bad, they are, unfortunately, savvy enough where they'll eat it, and they will take... they'll take Caleb Williams or Drake.
I think it's possible. I think
the difference between the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, and the Rams getting there, it'll feel intentional if the Rams get there, and I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm a Stetson Bennett fan. Go Dogs, but I'd like to see him play, and I think he's at a good position with Sean McVay if Sean McVay is planning on staying. What I will say is Stafford's done after this year 110%. He should have been done after last year, but I don't think he wanted...
Dude, you got your ring.
I don't think he wanted to end on an injury year, but it's like, bro, your wife just...
And he's had more. This is like the first time Aaron Donald's been hurt. This is not the first time Matthew Stafford's been hurt. And Aaron Donald's also built like a fucking tank.
Stafford, you've proved everything you need to, man. Like, we're good.
Get out of my conference.
Honest to God, you're going to be... I could see it that you eventually end up in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to say I agree with it.
That'd be dumb.
I'm not going to say I agree with it, but I could see... Now that you pulled off the ring, absolutely, I could say that eventually in one of your later years of eligibility, you're not going to be first ballot, but they do find a reason to put you in strictly because of what you did during your time in Detroit.
That'd be dumb, but it's possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, overall, Rams, not going to be a great year, but I think that the Rams are also savvy enough that they might know that, and I would hate it if they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, well, not me. I wouldn't care, but...
Yeah.
Personally, it does seem like one of those... What do you guys have to prove, and you're still trying to prove it kind of years.
Prove to me how great you are for one more year, and then you can eat it. So now, officially on to San Francisco. I will do my best to be objective, but I make
no
true promises. All right, so week 1, I got them losing in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Because I've mentioned this when we did this AFC North and the Steelers. San Fran has started slower the last 2 years.
Sure. And
Pittsburgh has tended to be really on it to start every season. So
yeah,
I'll say
and also we don't know exactly where Purdy's going to be or who's the quarterback.
Yeah.
So Purdy was cleared, which is great, fantastic. He's not going to be playing at all in the preseason. He may be a little rusty.
Yeah. So. They might sneak him some reps in the preseason, but I'd be shocked.
Man.
Just because you got to play him at some point. But, all right, but we'll see.
I'm with you.
But, okay, week 2, beat the Rams. The Rams are a bitch anyways.
Okay.
They are. Other than literally one moment, the worst.
That led to them getting a ring.
But other than that, like, Kyle Shanahan just owns Sean McVay.
Shanahan is a great coach.
No, like, there's a record thing where it's like the record is like 8-1, 9-1, something like that. Something gross. Like, it's just annoying. Okay, so week 3, the Giants. We beat the Giants too.
Yep.
Cardinals, easy money.
Yep.
Dallas, we just have the number.
Yep.
Cleveland, I think this is a hard fought game, but we beat Cleveland.
Yep.
We win in Minnesota too.
Yep.
And then we lose to Cincinnati.
Yep.
And several reasons for this. One,
Who dey?
we're coming off like a decently like taxing stretch: Dallas, Cleveland, Minnesota,
Yep.
then Cincinnati, and heading into our bye week while you're coming out of yours.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Great timing.
It's awful timing.
Great timing.
But that's fine. That is A-okay.
It's okay to lose one to Cincinnati.
Exactly, especially because we'll win the next one. And then week 9 bye, so I got them at what the hell? I got them at 6-2 going into the bye.
I don't think I have it different.
You don't.
Yeah.
I think they win in Jacksonville. They'll win out of the bye.
Mm-hmm.
They'll beat the hell out of Tampa Bay.
Yep.
They will lose at Seattle.
I have you beating Seattle.
Yep. They'll win in Philly.
Yep.
They'll beat Seattle at home.
Yep.
They'll beat Arizona.
Yep.
This is a game that pends the health of Baltimore and potentially the health of us. But I say we beat Baltimore because
both teams are healthy.
We'll beat Baltimore.
Yep.
And I just want to assume Baltimore's healthy because they've done it even more consistently than we have now. Mm-hmm. And then we'll beat Washington. And then you could say that we lose the Rams game here just based on...
So you would say that the Niners are going 15-2?
No. I've got them at 3 now.
What 3? Oh, yeah, exactly, because you got the Seattle.
Yeah, and then I'm debating handing them the loss here with the Rams because I think it's possible...
Sure.
If... When I get Philly... Is Philly...
Philly is
12-4. Okay,
5,
so
yeah.
I'm gonna say that actually San Fran loses to the Rams in the last week of the year. So LA, congrats, you actually get a win. But it's because
San Fran in the first seed.
San Fran won the tiebreaker with Philly.
Yep.
And so they sit, and so I say that they go 13-4. So there we go.
Yeah, I have you at 15.
Thanks about it.
I have you at 14-3.
Yeah,
because I have you sweeping Seattle. So
yeah,
I will go with the same thing. At that point, you do have it locked up because
I also think the NFC you're more likely to see teams sit because you're more likely to have 3 teams that pulled away and clinched a spot.
And if any team is going to sit their players, it's going to be the Niners, especially how after
don't get hurt.
Yeah, especially how last year went. They're going to be like, holy fuck. Okay, if we have an opportunity to give you a 2-week-long break, we're going to.
Sit down.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's I will give you. I will say the Rams do pull off the win because Stetson Bennett's the man. Because I don't think.
I'll put it this way: if Stetson Bennett plays, they lose even if we sit our guys.
You got Darnold coming in.
That'd be like if Drew Lock plays.
If Drew Lock
plays, we'll beat Seattle by accident.
If Drew Lock plays, we're getting swept by Seattle. Dog.
0%.
Swept by Seattle.
He'll throw it straight to Fred Warner.
That was the old Drew Lock.
No, it's the same one.
Nah. That's not the
Pete Carroll's not an offensive coach.
No, but
he's just a better one.
Drew Lock now has a couple of years of not having to play hero ball. He's finally smart again. So.
But here's my.
I have a telepathic link with the guy.
I bet you do.
I just know I know where he's at.
Oh yeah, but
mentally, he's never
overall, my synopsis on the 49ers is they're a team that usually wins the games they're supposed to, and there's only a certain couple teams where you're like, sometimes that style's a little tough for them.
Sure. And
they don't really run into a lot of those this year.
No, when they do, they have some. That they're in a good position to take care of those teams.
Yeah. So and the other thing is this: I think it's perfectly possible that we don't end the year 13-4 and we pick up a loss or 2 in there, but it will be mostly predicated on if you tell me that say whoever starts the year gets hurt and we are transitioning between quarterbacks before the Dallas game. I'm going to be pissed.
I would be too. Yeah.
Or, God forbid, this is happening, walking right into the Seattle stretch, big problem.
Yeah, that would suck.
But assuming the health of the 49ers, I think they land somewhere around there.
I think you're fine, too.
But God damn it, I swear to God, if we start switching them, one of them got hurt in like the last series against Tampa Bay. So going into Seattle, Philly, Seattle, we're switching them the third guy now. Now we have problems.
Yeah, at that point,
oh God,
I'd have nightmares if I were you.
You have nightmares.
I have nightmares about my life, so
yeah.
I'm gonna keep focusing about that. But
overall, I've got San Fran getting the 1 seed, Philly going 2, and then Dallas. No matter what happens, essentially. Here's how I'll put this: Dallas or Philly is the 2 seed, and the other one's the 5 seed.
Okay.
Whoever's second in the NFC East is the top wild card.
I believe it.
And then, unfortunately, not even by virtue of their own skill, but just by sort of like process of elimination of some other teams, Seattle's a wild card.
Yeah, I don't.
Not the way you did it.
I don't have them that high. However, I'm also gonna realize I'm on the low end because I gave a lot of their swing games away to the other teams because I like the other team more.
Because I just don't like you, Seattle.
Kind of.
Part of it.
Part of it. Not as much as this guy.
No. Trust me. I want to say they missed the playoffs, but here's the problem. I don't think Green Bay is going to do it.
I don't think Green Bay.
Chicago is trending up, but not there yet.
I have
Detroit's in. Minnesota is fringe, but maybe. I think they are.
I think they win the division. Still.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
You're crazy.
We'll get to that. It's a 1-game difference.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But then my other thing is this: there's not 2 coming out of the South.
No, there's 1 coming out of the
South. So
South.
Seattle's in by just process of elimination.
Yeah, you are right about that.
Because listen, even if we don't think the Seahawks are as good as people think they are, there's a bunch of teams in the NFC that are just like
I'm just really
they just hit reset.
It's a good thing you're an NFC guy and I'm the AFC guy because I'm so negative on the NFC teams that it's a good thing you're there to balance.
I just know a lot about all 32 of them.
And whatever.
But that's true. Don't play like that's not true.
Okay. Sure. Whatever.
No, I pay attention to the NFC because I'm like, I want to win that sumbitch first and then the whole damn thing. But I'll also say...
And then meanwhile, I'm literally in a gauntlet every single
I'll also say this about the 49ers. And I think this is a very unique year for them.
Okay.
We may be in a particularly cruel and unusual form of purgatory where we're so damn good as to always make the Final 4 or the Final 2 and then lose.
Well, it's a good thing you have those 6 rings to cry with because...
It's 5.
Oh, that's right. It is 5. Excuse me.
2 of them came from your guys.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that if we played Niners and Bengals when it was Rams Bengals,
it'd be 3-0 like it was always meant to be.
Joe Burrow would have brought the spirit of Cincy alive.
You guys weren't ready yet for that moment.
No, we were not.
Last year, you guys would have been ready for that moment, and I think you would have won last year too. But I think that first year...
Don't say that.
I feel the same way about if we got there. If we got there healthy the way we were playing, we would have beat whoever we played. Is how I feel. I feel the first year you guys got there, it was almost like you got there on a whim, where it was just sort of like, whoa, all of a sudden they're here.
Like, holy shit,
but they
good.
But like they weren't actually ready for that moment because the Rams were a beatable freaking team. Like they were more beatable than Kansas City was. Like I think that the Bengals, and again, this isn't meant to be a knock on the Bengals. This happens a ton of times to teams that get there fast.
I'm still not over it.
You're not over it. I'm still bitching about 2019, 2021, and 2022, and 2012, and 2011, and 13, and a whole bunch of...
Sounds like you should just be used to it at this point.
No.
God.
I remain fiercely angry about these things.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I've had to see my team be in the Final Four so many goddamn times. Like, there was, like, a chart that came out where it was, like, teams with the most playoff wins in the last, like, 10 years. My team is the only team in the top 9 that didn't win the Super Bowl. And we're, like, number 3.
Hell yeah, bro.
It's like, God.
The model of consistency over here.
Yeah. Oh, God. So I think my team might be in a very, like, cruel and unusual form of purgatory. And if it happens the same way as last year, where it's like, not the exact same way, it won't happen like that.
Sure.
But you know what I mean, where, like, you get to the same sort of level, and then it just doesn't happen again. We need to start being very aggressive and, like, anybody want to leave their teams. Anyone at all.
Come here, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm telling you right now, if you just don't get hurt,
we'll pick you.
Really good chance that this goes well. But, oh, God. We'll see.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Because I am of the mindset, again, I don't think we need to have one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league to win the Super Bowl. We need to have somebody who hovers somewhere in like the 13 to 10 range-ish, something like that type of guy, who just doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And if we have that, I think the rest of our team is there to beat the other teams as long as that dude just doesn't shit the bed.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair.
We'll see, and I mean, I'm telling you, I'm picking it. I will give a semi-Super Bowl prediction right now. I haven't quite picked the AFC other than this. I think it's San Fran and then Bills or Bengals. I don't think Kansas City makes it back again.
No, I don't. I think
there's only so many times that you can like have a lucky ass like.
I think they're actually on the downward.
I'm not going to say that about them.
Not in a like downward, like it's completely all downhill from here, but I think they're kind of like, okay, their peak is kind of, we're at that point where the peak's no longer there.
Yeah.
And we're still plateauing. Like, we're not anything
They've
crazy.
also been the team that's caught a lot of breaks in terms of nobody gets hurt, nothing this, nothing that.
The refs suck their dicks.
Kansas City is due to have something weird happen to them.
Yeah, maybe the refs don't give them fucking every call, but, you know. That's
a lot to ask.
That's a little bit of wishful thinking.
That's a lot to ask. No, I think that this year it's Bengals or Bills and then 49ers. And I'm telling you right now, you and I are going to hate each other if it's that game.
We will have a fist fight live on camera that will be for charity.
I think for us it'll just be therapy.
Yeah, and then afterwards you and I can go get a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Loser pays.
If it's Bills, I'll feel a whole lot happier just because
I'm.
Yeah, no, you won't.
I won't.
You're gonna be really upset if you guys just get bounced by Pittsburgh early and then they get bounced.
No chance. I did say that I'd prefer it if it's gonna be anybody else from the AFC. It better be the fucking Bills. So that's all I will say is that I'd be less depressed if it were the Bills and like if we lost the Chiefs.
I think the way that you'd be most okay if it is the Bills is God forbid Kansas City bounces you and then they bounce Kansas City. So they don't do the crime directly to you.
Yeah, I can just root for.
Yeah. I think that would be the easiest pill to swallow for you. Is if you go out in divisional, you'll hate it, but then they take out Kansas City.
Then I can get over it within a week because if the Bills pull off it was the same. Look, and I got to give a quick.
We're going off on a tangent here, but that's
okay. That's what you're coming from.
But that's just how this is gonna go.
Yeah. So here's the tangent. I got to give a quick shout out to my friend Jack, who is one of my best friends and my brother. He is a total diehard Bills fan. So when
stay strong.
Yeah, so good for. I hope he's all right. But when the Bills got bounced by the Chiefs, and then the Bengals beat the Chiefs and went to the Super Bowl, he came to me and was just like, "Bro, I'm not even upset anymore." Like, it's like, go get him. And so to return that favor, I'd say the exact same thing. Like, if we get bounced by anybody or the Chiefs,
I am also waiting for this. I won't be shocked. Everybody's talking about those 3 teams in the AFC. One of them this year is going to get bounced by a team nobody's expecting them to.
I think the Jaguars can be sneaky. I mean, we talked about it last time, but
I don't think it'll be them.
I think it's possible.
I don't know why. I agree with you. I think they win the South. I don't know why. I just get the feeling the AFC has not had a good wild card really go on a run in a moment.
Long time. Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's because we're kind of top heavy, but
yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't be shocked at all. So if you were to tell me, for example, say the Chargers make the playoffs or something like that, it's very possible that they just don't blow 27-0. Like, you know what
hard
I mean?
to do twice in a row.
Do you know what I mean?
But if any team was gonna do it,
yeah. And for example, I wouldn't be shocked at all if I think that actually the team.
You forget about that, but they did do that.
Oh, I don't forget about it. Why do you think I'm so harsh on them right now?
Yeah, now I'm remembering that. I'm like, holy shit, they did blow a 27-point lead, and no one fucking talks about it anymore because Justin Herbert is fucking sick.
I don't forget, goddammit, because I picked them hard last year.
And I've roasted the Falcons for a long ass fucking time.
What's worse, 27-0 or 28-3? In terms of numbers, it's 27-0.
In terms of numbers, 27-0.
But in terms of moment.
In terms of the moment, it is without a doubt 28-3.
28-3 is the worst collapse ever, but
if it were in a fucking regular season game, no one would
still be bad. But
no one would talk about it.
No, but ultimately, I'll say Kansas City needs to watch their ass around the Chargers because a division rival can always do it. I think that the Chargers are least suited to the Bills because there's just something about the way Buffalo plays. They just give the Chargers the thing. You guys, I think you guys and the Chargers, I don't know. We haven't really seen you guys play them.
No.
So I'm like, I don't know. Could happen.
And it would be, and that's the thing is that like every year I'm like, okay, we're playing the Chargers, we're playing
Nope.
and then we don't. I'm like, I really want to see Burrow.
Yeah, I've never
not because I think it's going to answer any questions on a debate.
No, I just want to see it.
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow's ahead of him, strictly personal bias, but also top five quarterback. I have Herbert as 4.
No, they're both very good.
Yeah, so for me, it's almost like, okay, what's the rest of that team? Honestly, I think it'd be a really good test if we did run in the Chargers, and if we lost, I'd really hope for the Chargers to beat Kansas City, and then it's Chargers Bills in the.
If I'm gonna pick an AFC wild card to go on a run, I'd pick the Chargers.
That's who I would pick.
And frankly, I'm rooting for it at this point. Not as like against any team in the AFC. I find the AFC playoffs to be wholly boring because it always is the same thing now. Where it's like it's one of the top 3. Nothing else.
Yeah, there's really no room for anybody else.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 years ago, take 2 years ago, the Niners go on the run when they were the 6th seed, and they go and they beat Dallas when Dallas did their first spectacularly funny thing. And then they go into Green Bay and knocked off Green Bay, and that was the one where everybody was like, "Oh,
Aaron Rodgers is done." Yep.
Yeah. And then the other one, the year before that, Tom Brady and the Bucks were a wild card.
Yep. Tom Brady and the Bucks. I thought they won their division. Did they not?
Saints won.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How do I not remember that?
Saints beat their ass twice that year. Then they went into the Superdome.
Oh yeah.
Then they went into Superdome and knocked them out.
Yep. Which was interesting, and unfortunately, what a way for Drew Brees to go out. Such bullshit.
I mean, it's only fitting. Of course, Tom Brady ends Drew Brees' career
in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then wins a ring.
Oh god.
Wins a ring in the NFC.
Right there.
Wins a ring in the NFC before fucking Brees did when they were, or how quicker than Brees was able to pull it off.
Yeah, well, I mean, 1 year.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was the year Brady stamped that Mahomes can't pass him either, because Mahomes never beat him in the playoffs. Mahomes lost 2 rings because of Tom Brady, probably.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So.
Which is hilarious to think about.
Yeah, so it's like Tommy Boy really just closed the book on that.
The craziest thing about it is so many people were talking about Mahomes that year. It's like if he goes back to back, he surpasses Brady. I was like, says fucking who?
You got to get to
you got to get 4 rings and still have 10 years left before you get that conversation of can he surpass. No one's surpassing Brady. Well, he's still in the fucking league.
Well, for me also, Mahomes never surpasses Tom Brady because he plays an easier freaking sport.
Oh well, don't.
And
get
I count.
started on that one.
I weigh Brady's last 2 rings lighter than the first 5.
Is 20? Are you counting 28-3 in that? In those later 2?
No.
Okay, perfect.
The Rams and then the Bucks.
Oh yeah. Right.
They beat the Rams and then the Bucks won.
Yep.
Because that is after my cutoff of the league got easy here.
Okay.
And all of Mahomes's are after that cutoff.
Yeah, fuck Mahomes.
Like there isn't. I got nothing.
On that hill.
I got nothing against.
Hate that guy.
I got nothing against Patrick Mahomes in terms of rating him in the context of his era.
Oh, I do.
But there's a difference in between around going into the 2017 offseason is when they started being I think it was going into the 2017 offseason where they're like, if you touch that quarterback, we will throw a flag.
We're throwing that flag if you even look at it.
So that is a hard cutoff for me to back in the 80s where it's okay, this is when the league started throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So the 80s through the mid 2010s, you could rank them all a little easier because they played a similar sport.
Yeah. I agree with you. We've had that conversation.
That's a whole nother tangent.
Just go look up at our older videos.
But yeah, but overall here, we're gonna go through and do the NFC North and South next time, and that'll round out our going through every team's schedule and giving our thoughts on it. So yeah.
Yep, be sure to check out the other videos where we went over the AFC West, the AFC East, the AFC South, the AFC North. We also covered. Oh no, this is the first time we're covering the NFC.
Yep.
So, yep.
So the other half of the NFC is next time.
Yeah, if you're an AFC fan, go take a look at our other videos.
Sweet. And then we're gonna start getting into some fun tier rankings, and then we're also gonna do a fun little we each are gonna draft our dream team from all the active players in the league. So
absolutely.
There you go.
I can't wait for that one.
Oh,
I'm
I know
excited for that.
I already got my draft board ready.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Peace.
Peace.